going to call this meeting to order. Welcome. Happy New Year. Welcome back from the break. We have a special call meeting of the San Marcos CISD School Board, and it is 6 o'clock on January 6th. We're at the San Marcos High School. We have 6 school board trustees present, and the 7th will be joining us as soon as she can get here. She's stuck in traffic. We're going to start with our agenda prep for our regular January meeting, which is on page 3 of our packet. And at this point, we will turn it over to the superintendent, who will tell us what is on the agenda.
All right, Madam President, members of the board, Happy New Year. Glad to have everybody back. We will start with the superintendent's report. We'll honor some students that we wanted to honor first semester from several different areas. Under information reports and information items, we will have the board do a proclamation on National Human Trafficking Prevention Month. Under item B, academics, Dr. Sanders and his team will have our quarterly academic update, which will have both the reading and the math district common assessment data that I think will interest all of us. Item 7, under approval of consent agenda items, we'll have the approval of the minutes for the regular scheduled board meeting on December 16, 2024, and for the special board meeting on January 6, 2025. Item B, consider approval of policy review GKE local. Item 7C, consider approval of the 2024-2025 budget amendments. We have 0 at this moment. Item 8, items for action. A, Board of Trustees discussion of TASB's advocacy agenda resolution for the upcoming session. Item A2, consider approval of agreements to provide joint funding for the provision of the youth services with the City of San Marcos. Item 8B, elections. Consider an order calling an election to be held on May 3rd, 2025 for the purpose of electing 2 trustees. Item 8C, academics. Consideration and approval of the targeted improvement plan for Travis Elementary School. We have been working with II.A. pretty much all year, and the academics team, and so we'll present that to y'all. Correct.
Because
So they go before the last 2 years with the lawsuits that are going on. We revert back to the previous 2 years when they're under comprehensive support. So they still fall under that. Item 9 under communications, consider approval of the 2025-2026 school calendar. Mr. Fernandez will have that information. Item 10, closed session is authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.076, and 551.087. Item 10A, the deliberation regarding the possible sale of the surface in consideration of the bid received for the purchase of the real property and all improvements described as follows. We haven't heard back from him, have we? So we'll reach out to him and see what's happening for item A. But that's Mr. Lowry, Shane Lowry, asked us to hold off on that. And then we'll also provide another update because in the meantime, we also received another inquiry on that project. So we need the board's guidance if this falls through on what you all want us to do. We reissue an RFP again and go through the process with a different group. Item 10C or 10B, consultation with council for developer plan. This goes back with a local developer that Mr. Cruz and I have been involved with that we've been keeping Ms. Halsey in touch with. Mr. Cruz has emailed me or kept me informed on the emails with this developer. He's still waiting on a response from the developer, but he plans to present that to y'all, whatever happens with this development. And this had to do with teacher workforce housing Item 10C, discussion regarding formative mid-year evaluation of the superintendent. Ooh, I better work on my stuff then. Okay, we're good. We're in alignment with mid-year report with the principals. So we start that Thursday, so we're kind of, like we wanted to be in alignment, and we can iterate as we go. So I'll have that information for y'all. And then item 10D, deliberation regarding safety and security, including safety personnel systems, intruder audit reports, infrastructure and devices. I don't think we have anything officially, but we are under the audit period for January as well for II.A. Item 11, the board will reconvene in open session and take action if necessary on items discussed in closed session. Item 11A, we'll have an answer for that. And that is it, I believe, at this point, Madam President.
Thank you. Does anybody have anything that they would like to add for the January agenda?
I have a question. What is this audit period that you're talking about for the safety?
So they used to call me every month, the security from Region 13, to tell us, hey, Mr. Superintendent, in August you're gonna be under the audit period, safety school intruder. So basically, because we're near Austin, we get chosen every month to be safety audited. So now they changed their rules, their policy, and they just send me one email. They've gone to one single platform, this Safety Sentinel, and Mr. Walker Cleveland and I are the ones that keep up to date with that. That's what we submit, all our comprehensive plans, all our documentation, but they'll send me an email and I have to acknowledge it. And every month it's been August, September, October, November, December, January. So it just means our schools have to keep watching out.
So the schools that are having construction contractors, they have to go through a process to get into the building. They have to go through the front. They don't come in the back door.
They are not supposed to come in the back door. It's in their contract, actually. It's in all the documents we provide to them. During school hours, they are to all go through the front office and check in. If you remember with Goodnight that they did check in, they just happened to keep a door propped open on the outside. Mr. Sandoval actually has a meeting with the contractors tomorrow, so he's going to remind them of the procedures, but they are to all. The only time we have any deviance from that is after school, late night, like 5:36. We may have somebody come in while the office is closed, but the stipulation is the contractor has to be with them, who has been vetted through the district, to be with the subcontractor to go into a facility.
So there's no deviation from the process, ever.
There's never a deviation from the process. It's just like our administrative staff. We have this, every building we go into, we sign in also. So they're to follow the same rules.
And
I've even been walked up to the front because I forgot my ID. I've been taken up front by a custodian to sign in appropriately.
How many times then per year is each campus subject to the external TA audit?
One time.
Okay.
Every calendar year. And every campus will be audited. I think we're about, Walker, 4 campuses? So, 6 left, so. Yeah, it's just one time.
And Mr. Arredondo, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yes, thank you, President Halsey. Regarding item A2 under items for action, consider approval of the agreement to provide joint funding for the provision of youth services. I know that this was a holdover item from our December board meeting, and I appreciate the board delaying it. I know we have a conversation later this evening about budget. Is there a way that staff can reach out to the city of San Marcos to see if the school district were to keep funding at our current contract level, what would that do to, what would that impact the program and what they're currently doing? And just to further elaborate on that, based on the new language in the contract, we're essentially approving a pay raise for the staff member that the 3 entities hire, which personally I have concerns with. I know it's a nominal fee. I think it's like $1,600 and change. It might be it's less than 3,000. I'm sure of that. However, I know as a trustee that I can't guarantee that type of raise for any other ISD employee going into next fiscal year, right? We're about to have a more robust conversation in executive session about that. And so individually, I just need more additional information of what that would look like if funding remained static, because we're about to fight it out on whether salaries and benefits for our employees stay static. And so I have a concern about approving a pay raise for an out-of-district employee before we even decide what we're doing for current employees. So if we can talk to the city of San Marcos, see if we keep funding level static, can the program continue as is? And so that's just a request for information on item A2. And then in that same vein, I do have an agenda item request. I wish I had more information or what that caption would be, but if y'all will indulge me. So all of us as utility payers in the city of San Marcos pay electric and water for the most part. In that fee is something called a drainage fee, and it's calculated by the square footage of our property. So an assumption can be made, and it's there in the bill, that the San Marcos CISD pays a pretty extravagant or substantial drainage fee for the city of San Marcos. I'm hoping that as we discuss the 2025-2026 budget in a to be determined meeting, whether it's in January or in the future, we request that the city of San Marcos waive those drainage fees for the ISD. Is that going to happen? Remains to be seen. But as we discuss our budget deficit, it's my intent to leave no stone unturned. So if that can be a placeholder, and if Mr. Sandoval can calculate that amount, and if we could work with Juan Cruz on what that resolution or that ask from the board could be to the San Marcos City Council, I think an argument can be made that if they waive, in excess of 1.2 million in drainage fees, we could use that to pay staff and keep people employed in the schools. So that's my hope or my dream.
So Mr. Sandoval and I Thursday have a meeting with the city manager, so we can bring this up. We are, just in full transparency, we are bringing up another issue regarding fees and what they are asking to that's San Marcos specific and not a code. And so we do have a letter from our attorneys. They helped us draft something asking them not to treat us as a developer. So they want us to pay developer fees. We're not a developer, we're a school district. So we'd be happy to bring that up to them.
And regardless of how that meeting goes, and I hope it's a fruitful discussion, staff to staff, you're only empowered to do so much. And I know City Manager Reyes is only empowered to do so much. And so from one taxing entity to another, again, I hope it's a fruitful discussion on Thursday, but if not, I think it's time for elected officials and policymakers to weigh in and for us to have that conversation entity to entity. Because individually, I do think it's inappropriate that one taxing entity can essentially tax another to do business when we have to build our own drainage systems around our campuses either way. So I digress. Those are the two items that I have, or the two requests that I have for January.
I think that's a great idea, and I actually think that we might consider taking it even further, especially if we're not going to get an increase in state funding from the legislature during this biennium, and looking thoroughly at our budget about ways in which there might be cost-sharing opportunities for us in the city. And I'm thinking specifically like the part of the preschool that we fund, which is certainly a community service and is not entirely, there's a portion of that that is not paid or not allocated by the state still, right? So maybe and I know other districts, their cities charge penny taxes, et cetera, that go to the funding of that. So maybe we need to initiate a conversation on that. Maybe there are other similar wraparound services like those provided by communities and schools that could, and social workers and other expenses that are not strictly academic that the district is bearing, but certainly go to the improvement of the city. And I think that they have some remaining COVID money, the last I heard. And we know we certainly don't have any money, so I think we should look at any opportunity. Anything else? All right, at this time, we will move, let me just go back to my regular agenda, make sure I'm on the right spot. Yes, we will move into closed session as authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.074, and 551.075 for consultation with legal on personnel and finance planning. Thanks.
We're gonna clear.
That's fine. Happy New Year.
Appreciate y'all.
That's what I was